Don't blink. It's your boy Ink. Welcome to another video another mukbang. Disclaimer: in this video, there's gonna be a moment where I may seem woozy, I may seem tired. I'm under medication, a lot of medication. I got a cold. It's better now, but I had to take some NyQuil. I had to take some cold Tylenol. Yeah, today is a very special day. Very special day. We're having Mama own spaghetti. It's mac and cheese with mincemeat, and it's fucking amazing. She gave me a plate like this. I know it's a lot, but today we're gonna be talking a lot. There's gonna be a lot to be talked about, because in this manga we're covering something that is very dear to me, a sad subject. It's gonna be accompanied by Canada Dry. Whew. Sorry, I'm a bit sick, but what can I do? So, without further ado, bon appetit. And I know this is a lot, right? Yeah. But Mama gave me this meal, and I want to enjoy it today. Before we even start, I want to grab a tissue to blow my nose. Before we even start, I want to say a very heartfelt, a very sad rest in peace to Akira Toriyama. Akira Toriyama passed today on the 8th March 2024. If you don't know who Akira Toriyama, for a lot of people he was a father. For a lot of people he was an artistic father. For a lot of people, for a lot of mangaka, he influenced them. For a lot of the today anime, he inspired. He was the first anime that I ever watched. He brought a popular movement to the manga industry, in the anime industry, in the in the Western world, in our present civilization. That man was the father, was the creator of Dragon Ball. We're talking about Dragon Ball Super, Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Super, he wasn't behind it, but he was present during the He was very present during the making of it. Dragon Ball Super, he was present for it. He was the one that was behind it. GT, I didn't mention GT because he was not involved, which sucks, because the only thing that people still love from GT, there's two things. They love the Baby Saga, which was the Truffle versus the Saiyan, which I love, and the Super Saiyan 4 form. And before any of you assholes come to me and say, hey, how dare you try to monetize his death? How dare you try to use him for views? Bro, I'm at 249 followers. I don't get paid. Let's get me to 250, and I still won't get paid, but please do. So, it sucks, because most of what we're going to be talking about is I'm going to be quite honest with you guys. I don't know Akira Toriyama. To me, he was a fantastic artist that created Dragon Ball Z. Apart from that, I don't know if he did anything else. I don't know if he was a father. I don't know much about him. All I cared about was he gave me one of the first anime manga that I ever read, loved, and cared for. Mama, you made some good pasta. Mac and cheese, mincemeat. Delicious. I would put some hot sauce on it, but my mom, I love her. Now, the fact that I do know Akira, only as the creator of Dragon Ball, it's pretty sad. Because even for me, as somebody who does social media, does social content, that's not my real job. I have another job that I made today because I was sick. Fuck. And the reality is, I love my job. I love the people I work with. I love the place I work at. I love it. But it's closing in 3 weeks. And I understand that every good thing must come to an end. Here's the thing you created. So yeah, but where I'm trying to go is, a lot of people, if I'm lucky, only if I'm lucky, a lot of people you know me, for me, I'm gonna be lucky. I'm gonna have kids. They'll get to call me dad. I'll have friends that get to call me Steph. I'll have a nation call me Ink. I'll have a group of people that give a shit call me Ink. And if at the end of the day, the person I am is forgotten and all that's left is Ink Vendetta, I'll be happy. I'll be very happy. See? The reality is, a person, when I talk about Akira, where's the I don't know where I put there you go. The reality is, for Akira Toriyama, a person, man, woman, whatever you want to call yourself, is more than what they created. But when they build something, when they create a form of art, it means so much. I was watching Anthony Padilla, and he had Markiplier on. And again, you guys know me. I have a pretty weird background when it comes to YouTube. I did follow the mainstream guy. And Markiplier was like, I have 17 billion views. And I said, what a cocky asshole. But now I understand. It's what I created. You see, when I started doing content, when Markiplier came in and said that, I was doing content video game streaming. The content is just me. It was different. And he built that. And now I understand. Akira was so important for a lot of people. You know, in my life, I'm gonna get some hate for this. People are gonna hate me on this. I don't care. I don't care. In my life, the tree that impacted me the most was Mac Miller, Chester Bennington, and Akira Toriyama, which is today. Oh man, I fucked it up. I wanted to say there's two deaths. Look at this tree death. Mac Miller, I fucking love the guy. But the death of Akira Toriyama, to me, almost mean the same as Chester. Chester was a father, a artistic father to me when it came to music. He was the first band that I still listen to similar today. The music this band make, Linkin Park, the way he sang, still means something to me. Yesterday, the boys at work were playing Linkin Park, Put It Down, Shadow of the Day. Wow. And I miss it. Guess with a Glass, it was amazing. And I realized that that band meant so much to me. And then I remembered the Chester death. How people from the music industry all gathered around. How the world cried for him. In Akira, I'm seeing everybody on Instagram posting about it. I woke up this morning at 3 a.m. At show 5, I learned the news. And now I'm seeing, the whole day I've been seeing the whole entire day, I've been seeing some thank yous, some RIP. Of course, people talk about Dragon Ball. But he was such an important figure. See, when I say he was a father, a public, an artistic figure in the mangaka, a lot of the manga that's today, they grew up watching Dragon Ball. They grew up listening or reading Dragon Ball. And so did I. See, when I look at my story, because of course I want to talk about how I feel about it. I want to talk about my link to the guy. My link to the guy is very, very simple. I was a kid. spoke French. Now, I used to listen to a channel, and there were some kid shows, which were great. There was always prank shows. There were always like teen drama. And I didn't really care about it. I didn't really care about that. Every Saturday though. I can't believe I'm going to talk about this. It's been so long. But at the very core, it's who I am. Man, Akira. Fuck. I was a kid. My mom and my father were raised me, yes. But I spent 12 days out of 14 at my father. So, of course, the culture, culturally speaking, I'm more akin to my father's culture than my mom's culture, sadly. My father was in a household where it was like, oh, you're going to speak French because we're French. They didn't want me to learn English. And thank God my mom taught me English. She sent me to camp where there were English camp. And if I wanted to talk to people, I'd speak English. But even before that, Saturday morning, there was 3 shows that I love to watch. And those shows were on YTV. Now, for the people that know YTV, it's where you could see Drake and Josh, iCarly. Which are a show I didn't watch because I didn't understand it. There were 3 shows I used to watch, however. There was Saturday anime. There was Pokemon. There was Yu-Gi-Oh! There was Dragon Ball. Now, the reality is, to me, those didn't feel like anime. Those didn't feel like manga. Pokemon was a game I used to play on Game Boy Color. The show, although was an anime, was a show based on the game that I'm playing. And the game that I'm playing, to me, didn't feel like an anime. It felt like an RPG. It felt like a game. We're gonna do a whole video on Game Boy Color, on Pokemon. Don't worry about it. But Akira, I'm so sorry. I guess I'm sad. I'm under the effect of NyQuil. I had Yu-Gi-Ohs. And again, Yu-Gi-Oh! Was a show that I love. I really enjoyed Yu-Gi-Oh! But it was a show that I had the card for, and I used to play at school. I remember Yu-Gi-Oh! I remember the teacher, because there were a lot of kids that were stealing or saying, hey, I beat him in this game, he has to give me this card. And I remember the teacher saying, okay, we don't allow Yu-Gi-Oh! Anymore. And we created our own card and played. And the reality is, I didn't see it as an anime too, because again, I knew from the get-go that it was a game I could play, right? Those felt like something. And then it was Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball was a show that my whole school would listen to. Dragon Ball was a show that I remember. I was young, dude. I was young, probably in 5th grade, 6th grade. It was a girl in my class, Sandrine Morin. Salut Sandrine. And she was a pest. She wasn't the nicest person. She wasn't really nice at all. But she had a brother, and her brother was actually pretty cool. And her brother, he went to, and everybody in my class knew about Dragon Ball. And there was this kid called Antoine Bibo. Antoine was a really cool guy. Salut mon homme. Miss you, bro. Like, Antoine was fucking cool, and Antoine was a fan of anime. Now he's obsessed with One Piece right now. But when back in the beginning, his mom, Antoine was the kind of kid that his mom bought him everything. I was also the kid that his mom bought everything. Thank you, Mom, for still cooking meals at 31 years old. But my mom, I only saw her 2 days I was only saw her 4 days a month. And the days I saw her, I couldn't ask for a lot because I missed her, you know? And Antoine, his mom, she bought him some Dragon Ball. So when I came in at school and Antoine had those books with him on Dragon Ball, I was like, holy shit, this is so cool. And why am I talking about Sandrine? Is Sandrine's brother sold us the Dragon Ball series. And he sold every book in the collection for $5 a piece. For $5 a piece. And I do remember and asking my father, hey, Dad, can I buy this? And my father was like, no, you don't need this. You don't need this. You have a lot of books. And he was right, but I wanted it. So, at the age of 10 years old, I remember I had a piggy bank. And I broke it. And I had $4.98. I spent days, and I'm not kidding, I spent days looking on the ground to find change. Because at that time, I didn't have pocket. pocket money. And my father said no, so I didn't want to push him. And I knew that if I didn't buy it from Sandrine, she was going to sell it to somebody else. And the reality is, the craziest thing is, my father knew Dragon Ball. I love Dragon Ball. So every summer we would go to. I'm sorry, this is all like left and right. Again, medication, and I'm just sad. My father, we had the habit of visiting some uncle and aunt in Gaspésie, which was a 7-hour trip. And my father every summer would say, "Hey, I'm going to buy you a book, right? You get to read in the car, and you get to read it on vacation." And I was like, okay. I remember getting Dragon Ball 1, right? Which I fucking loved. I remember, like, Dragon Ball 1 to me was perfect. Dragon Ball Chapter 1 was incredible. The second book, from Dragon Ball Chapter 1, I still remembered by heart. How Goku has a tail, how Bulma think is a stick tail, how Goku pats her region to say if she's a boy or a girl. There was such a charm to it. It was so fucking funny how Hulong saved the day by asking for a pair of panties. We met Yamcha, and how the first chapter was definitely one of my favorite parts. Again, we get the meeting of a lot of characters. We get the meeting of Yamcha, we get the meeting of Goku, Bulma, Oolong, Porom, right? And what I like the most is that we go on a quest, and Bulma, she's like, I want to ask the Dragon Ball for my love, to find the love of my life. Goku's like, oh, this is a training, and then he meets Master Roshi. It was so well put. We had the villain called Pilaf, which wasn't really a villain. He was funny. Pilaf was the emphasis of... oh, Pilaf was fantastic. Pilaf was the emphasis of a villain. He was like a villain before a kid show. He was funny. He was a villain because he wanted Dragon Ball to get some money to dominate the world. But he never explained what he was going to do when dominate the world. Akira Toriyama was a genius because he understood that the kids are going to watch this. And the kids, they don't understand that, oh, I want all the money in the world. The kids won't understand, like, I want geopolitical control over the world. For the kid, it only mattered that Pilaf was a bad guy and he wanted to get the Dragon Ball. And it was so fantastic because during the entirety of Dragon Ball, they needed Dragon Ball like 7 or 8 or 10 times minimum, right? And we do get in the first like book or in the first couple of chapters, we're seeing Goku and Bulma, and they're getting the Dragon Balls, and they're here to say, hey, we're gonna have to get every one of them. Now Goku has one, Bulma has one. That's their contribution to the plan. But the other 5, you have to find them. Master Roshi has one. The father of Chi-Chi, which is Goku's wife. Goku's wife, guys, has one. Again, super important. Master Roshi, Goku's teacher, right? We had one by defeating Oolong, which was, again, one of the characters that came in. And Oolong was just funny because he was a pig that was being a perv, that was being a pig, right? And it was so fucking funny to me as a kid. And I always thought, why do I care about Oolong? And that we're going to tell you about in a bit. Then we had there was a lot of Dragon Ball. I don't remember everywhere where they are. But, yeah, there was a lot of them. And it's phenomenal because it's so fucking cool. It's so fucking cool because, again, you had a mission. They meant something. And, of course, at the end, what I fucking enjoy, what I worship in Dragon Ball is that the first time we're finding the Dragon Ball, it's a battle, it's a fight, it's a way to introduce us to the world. Now, the second time we're getting the Dragon Ball, there's only 2 times in the entire series. I'm talking about the original series. I didn't follow Super enough to know about it, and canon, Akira wasn't involved, and today we're talking about Akira. So, in the first one we're seeing is the beginning of the series. The second one we're seeing is we're looking for the Dragon Balls. Then you say, ink, it's repetitive. No. So, Dragon Ball exists thanks to a god. On Earth, he's called Kami. Kami is the evil half of Piccolo. Piccolo being one of the first enemy of Goku, or Son Goku, which is the Dragon Ball Z, right? Piccolo is the last boss in the Child Saga. So when I'm not saying the Dragon Ball, where there's Kid Goku till Teen Goku, there's Dragon Ball Z, where's adult Goku till Kid Buu. right? And then there's Super that I don't know much about. But what I do know, and what I fucking love, is that Piccolo being an Namekian, we know that there's Dragon Ball on Namek planet, which is another planet which we're exploring different race of alien, different. It's so fucking cool. It is so cool. And Akira said, okay, well, we're gonna be looking for the Dragon Ball again. But this time, the Namekian Dragon Ball, and even the Shenron, which is the god you. Okay, so Dragon Ball are 7 Dragon Ball. You get them, and then you can grant a wish. Now you had the Omega Shenron, which was the bad guy in GT, but you had the Namekian Shenron, and they were looking very different. And I loved that as a kid. So it meant to me something where even on Earth, the Dragon Ball were small. They were small. They were like they fit in a pocket, and on the Namek they were huge. What I love about Akira Vision was that he made Saiyan a Goku. He made Goku a Saiyan without explaining what a Saiyan was. He made Goku have a tail, understanding he can transform into a giant monkey. Son Goku. So Goku was inspired by Son Goku, which is actually the Monkey King, which is a huge part of mythology and his culture, and Akira's culture. I'm not sure if he's Japanese or Chinese. I'm sorry. So he represents that. He even had a weapon that was a extending rod, just like the Monkey King. So there's just so many. In this world, you had people that were talking. You had dogs that were talking. You had black people. Now, what I'm saying sounds racist as fuck. But remember, this was during the 80s. During the 80s, black people weren't often on TV. They were definitely not in manga. Even nowadays, if you look at mangas, there's not a lot of black people. Akira was like, no, fuck it. I'm gonna put in some black people. And I know what you're saying. Oh, there's not a black guy that's fighting alongside Goku. Well, that's not true. Technically, at the very end, when he defeats Kid Buu, Goku wished that he's reincarnated. Goku wished that he's reincarnated as a good person, Kid Buu, because he's super strong and he wants to fight to train. And he's reinvented as Oob, which is a black guy. There's also in the very beginning with the Red Ribbon Army, where there's a Mr. Black, which is a tall black guy. And it's super fucking funny because Mr. Black is black. As a kid, I laughed my ass off. So yeah, so I bought it. I bought the 5th and I was reading it. Why Dragon Ball was such an impact as a kid? Dragon Ball, believe me or not, I'm always been a shitty drawer. And at my school, we had the habits of taking in, oh, that was badass. That was badass, dude. That was so badass. I always will remember the. If you don't know Dragon Ball, what I'm saying doesn't make sense, but it doesn't matter. My apologies. During the Cell Saga, which is one of the bad guy, right? There's 4 saga, and what I like about the name of what I love about the sagas are the name of the sagas. So the Saiyan Saga, the bad guys are Saiyan. The Frieza Saga, the bad guy is Frieza. The Cell Saga, the bad guy is Cell. And the Majin Buu Saga, the bad guy is Majin Buu. Why I love that? Do you know why I love that? The show, the manga is about the good guys, but we're putting in faces on the bad guy, because at the end of the day, they're a bad guy, and they should represent like a menace. And Cell was defeated by Kid Gohan, and for that Gohan didn't like to fight, so Cell had to make him angry. And there's a transformation panel. There was a manga where Gohan transformed into Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, and I remember the manga. It was so fucking cool. It was so cool. Miss it. I missed a lot. The manga, there was a page where Gohan had the Super Saiyan 2, and we took a piece of paper, and I took a piece of paper, I put it on top, and I draw it, and it was, for me, it was art. It was copying and paste another person's work, but it was art. At the end of the day, to me, that was enough for me to call myself a drawer, an artist, and I remember putting them on my walls in my room, and it was Dragon Ball. Going back to what I was saying with the shows, Dragon Ball was the very first manga. So again, we were the first manga that I read, right? It is the first manga that I watched. And what I love about those 3 shows, which is Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Dragon Ball, I didn't understand a word they were saying, right? Pokemon didn't matter because Pokemon was more about the battle. If you play the game, the narrative is nice. The narrative, what am I saying? The narrative is a must in every single Pokemon game. But when you replay, Pokemon games are one of the games that you can replay and replay and replay, and it doesn't matter because you have a different team, right? Even if you look at the first generation, you have 150 Pokemon, right? When you have a team of 6, that's about 20. Wow, that's 25. That is 25, quick math. So 20 times 6, 120. There's 30 left. 30 divided by 6 is 5. 25 possible team of Pokemon. So you could play technically the first game 25 times with different Pokemon. So at the first, the narrative is extremely nice, but it doesn't matter because at the end, the combat is what matters. So when I was looking at Pokemon, I didn't care. I didn't care that the anime was in English because I could play the game and I could fight even if I spoke French and didn't speak English. When it came to Yu-Gi-Oh, we had the card that we bought were cards in French, so I could read them in French, and it didn't matter if in the show they were in English. In my pocket, they were in French. Dragon Ball, to me, felt different. Dragon Ball was only a show, and I would watch the fighting scene, and I remember so much the Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, and for whatever reason, I had a picture of Goku sliding on the ice with his neck like that. I don't know why. I remember looking at Piccolo saying, "Oh, he's a bad guy." I miss that show. I miss those years. Dragon Ball was also the very first manga that I went. Like I said, I went ahead and purchased, but it was also the very first manga that I actually read. So long story short, I'm extremely fucking lucky. I'm extremely lucky to have been born in the era I was born in. So during my teenage years, I was in a it was fucking. I am so lucky. I am so fucking lucky, and I'm gonna say it once. I'm gonna say it twice. I have to write it down because that's too good. Because when I look at my timeline, when I look at who I am as a person, it feels perfect. As a kid, we watched TV. I remember watching SpongeBob, and everybody at school was talking about SpongeBob. Everybody at school was talking about the show that they like, and the show that they like was a show that I could watch because we all went to the same school. We all went out at the same time, and it worked also for the high school. So in high school, I was watching a lot of Jersey Shore. I was watching a lot of MTV. I was watching a lot of, and that's when, except for music taste, most of what were being said in those shows meant something to me because again they were shows I was talking to at school. There was a show called Tool Academy where we took boys, men that were really awful, right? And they redid that, and it was trash TV, and I fucking loved it. I used to watch Rock of Love, which I fucking loved. I used to watch Charm School, which was the lady version of Tool Academy. So they took girls from Rock of Love and they gave them a recast. Not a recast, but they gave them the chance to be proper ladylike. And the best thing about it was Sharon Stone. And Sharon Stone was the wife of Ozzy Osbourne. And Ozzy Osbourne was this crazy guy, and Sharon was somehow normal. So it was really cool because it presented a show that was so cool. And the fact that they were all the ex of a rock star trying to get better. Sharon was the wife of a rock star that was better. So again, those shows, they didn't mean much after 25, 30 years. They don't mean much. But at school, we were talking about that, right? So at the end of school, I was 18 because I didn't pass 1 year and I had to redo it. My mom, she bought me my first phone. Now, I had an iPod, but I didn't have a phone. And that phone was amazing because that phone gave me the opportunity to have, in Android, the opportunity to have emulators, right? And as emulator, I freaked out. I was like, holy shit. So I don't remember how I found the emulator, but I did. I had every single Game Boy Color game, every single Game Boy Advance game at the tip of my fingers. And I didn't care. I went into an apartment understanding that, and I didn't care. I didn't have cable. I had radio. And I didn't care because I was a gamer. I'm still a gamer, but I was a gamer more back then. I was a gamer, and I said, you know what? It doesn't really matter that I don't have cable. I don't need cable. I didn't have Wi-Fi. Then I started playing game, and I started listening to the same shows. I got bored. It didn't matter. I loved Naruto. I love Bleach. I love Bleach. And I love Dragon Ball. Now, I'll be honest. Back then, the phone, they were shit. I had 6 gig of data. I remember the videos taking so much place. And I remember having 6 gig. Yeah, 6 gigs. And sorry, that had no noise. It was only a bag. Like I was scared, like there was a ghost or something. Sorry, I have to go to the toilet. What am I saying sorry for? It's my video.